Krista and Amy are here with us from their workshop in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I love it, and thank you for the lovely housewarming gifts that I have in front of me that you've built. These trays are beautiful. Before I dote over all of the great things you've created, Krista, carpentry was a hobby for you, and you loved it, but you didn't think you could actually make a living doing that. What gave you, I guess, the courage to push forward and do it?
Honestly, probably Amy, because I don't think that when we started, had the technical capability to pull it off, and I've learned so much from her, and we've just kind of been in it together from the beginning, which goes a long way to kind of helping some of the fears when you first start of jumping into something like this.
Amy, I love it. I needed you in my life when I was trying to put together those Adirondack chairs for 3 months and lost all my fingernails in the process. So where were you? But I love it because you have a carpentry background. You grew up on a farm, but it took you years until you finally launched this side of really your professional journey as well. What prevented you from starting sooner when you already had the skills?
I think, honestly, what prevented me was feeling like this was really just a pipe dream to be able to, like, actually do this and launch it on my own. It just didn't feel realistic. I used to be a high school woodshop teacher, and I would joke with my students that one day I was going to own a furniture shop and I was going to hire them to do the refinishing and all that stuff. But as much as I actually did want to do it, I think there was a fear in place that just made it feel like a very unrealistic dream.
You know, you just said something I think a lot of people do when they are talking about their dreams to others. We joke about it. You know we're serious, but we deflect through joking because you don't want someone to tear down that dream and say, you know, you're right, it's not possible. Amy, you described this, what is this, emotional roller coaster. Before you started, you looked at the numbers, you looked at your budget, and you knew by the clock you had about 2 months to make this thing work.
Yeah, we had about 2 months worth of savings saved up that we knew would get us through to, like, try to get this off the ground and see what happened. And it was literally just every day was filled with fear and trepidation about, is this going to happen? Is this going to work for us? But I mean, here we sit 2.5 years later, on top of the world.
Krista, was there a moment where you said, bingo, we got it. We got it. This is going to work. No. Okay, you're supposed to be inspirational and aspirational over here.
Honestly, though, I think for us, it was this grit that we kind of found deep down of, like, we're literally going to give this everything we have every day.
Right.
Go back and forth between, like, who's feeling confident, like, we've totally hit our stride, we're totally doing this, and the other one's being like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I can't do this. And we kind of flip-flop back and forth of the other one really being the champion of, like, no, we've got it, here's why we've got it. And so I think, honestly, it's the fact that we are doing it together that kind of helps, because everyone has those days where you just kind of feel like an imposter and, like, you're like, there's no way I should be doing this.
Yeah, and then she would balance you out and vice versa. I love it. I know that also you went through some tough times in the pandemic, Krista. You were injured, but you managed to thrive at this most difficult time because people were doing home improvement. People were looking for ways to freshen up their homes. So it was a sweet spot for you that may not have been there. I'm scooting up to your product. That may not have been there if you tried this last year. So timing and partnership is everything when you're trying to launch something. So you have these beautiful trays. You make everything by hand.
Yep, everything is by hand. No two things are ever the same.
And you also do home improvements, jungle gyms for kids, which hugely popular this year, home offices, bookshelves. I'm in on the jungle gym because now that my son is 2 years old, I'm obsessed with rock climbing walls. But as I said, Amy, when I did the Adirondack chairs, this is what happened to my nails, and I've not gone back. But these things, again, were a sweet spot for you.
specifically women enjoy a different approach and they enjoy a different process because we're a very fluid process because it's a very creative process.
Well, it's creative, but let's face it, we're going to be honest here. It's an industry still that people believe, oh, a carpenter is a guy or a builder is a guy. And we know that that still exists despite you and others proving otherwise. I do want to look at a few more things that you have. The tree house, that is, how long did it take you to put that together?
About a week.
Yeah.
A week? Do you know that's a home in New York City? That is a home in New York City. You've got the built-in dresser from one of the homes that you did. Again, that's amazing. And I want to bring up, this is my favorite, the piano headboard. What was the inspiration behind that?
We had this sweet little Italian lady who contacted us a long time ago, and she had been keeping this piano in storage. And I mean, this piano was made in like 1910 or 1920, like a very long time ago. It's been this family heirloom for her. And you can kind of see a little bit, there's numbers written on it. Her grandfather wrote those numbers on when she was learning to play. And she was just tired of it being in storage because she hadn't been able to find anybody to tune it in over 20 years. And she couldn't find any place to donate it, and she could not bear the thought of it going in the dumpster, but she didn't have anywhere for an actual piano that couldn't be used. And so she had this idea for a headboard and trusted us with our very fluid, creative process to figure out how to make it a headboard for her and preserve all of the heirloom pieces that mean so much to her. And
I'll tell you what, when I look at that, I've read your story, but that particular item to me really resonated because that's the freedom that you have to create and to be yourselves and to use that fear as inspiration, a catapult to do what you have dreamt was possible. I just love it. And I think that piece says so much about your journey. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for these trays. They're not coming back. They're mine. I'll send the check, okay?